Hey everyone, thanks for joining today for yoga. Today we're going to use a blanket or a towel, something that you can fold up that can give you a little bit of lift and support underneath. You're also welcome to grab some type of pillow, can be a bed pillow, can be like a decorative one. Again, just for a little bit of support and softness under the body. To get started, we're going to set these up. So if you have the pillow, you can set it up kind of long way, running down the length of your mat. We're going to rest the spine and head on that in a moment. And then underneath, you're going to fold up your blanket a couple times so it creates a nice little wedge for you. And we're going to sit on that to start. And we're going to send both legs out in front. And maybe we grab the seat and pull it back behind us so we can feel a little more grounded into that blanket, the spine more upright. And then I'm going to have you draw in the right foot alongside the right hip. So you have bent right knee, and the right foot is alongside the right hip on the outside. So here, get a sense for how this feels. Maybe you need another pillow underneath the seat. If this is creating like a twinging, pinching sensation in your knee, you definitely want to sit your hips up a little bit higher. But if you do feel just a little bit of discomfort in the area of your right hip, that's okay. So we're working with the inner rotation of the right thigh. And we're going to couple it with a little bit of expanding in the chest with a slight back bend. And we're going to lay down back over this pillow behind us. You might want to take a few steps as you lean back. So right now I'm starting to feel the right quad turn on, stretching, and I'm just on my flat hands. I have some bent elbows, and maybe I'll rock up and down a little bit. Maybe I'll come down onto my forearms. And here, my chin is tucked and close to the chest. I'm looking straight ahead or down the nose. Letting my belly be soft. But I'm starting to feel the low back, the little curve here. And so maybe you scoot that blanket or the pillow underneath the opening, the space between the low back and the floor to support you. And take a look at your toes on the right foot. See if maybe you can direct all the toes back in space. Your foot might have a tendency to sickle outwards. So ideally, we want to kind of rearrange the foot just a little bit so the toes are flaring out directly straight down from the heel rather than to the inner left side of the heel. Hopefully that makes sense. And looking ahead to the knees, they can be far apart. It might feel good for them to be the same distance away from each other as the bony parts of your hips are spaced. They can be further apart, but it might not feel super good if they're close together. There's nothing wrong with that. It'll just intensify the quad stretch. You're also perhaps getting a stretch on the top of the right foot. And if and when the sensation in the right leg dissipates, maybe you let the back rest over the pillow. And you can allow the arms to drape out to the sides, far away from the torso. Or you can bring the arms up overhead. This might increase the feeling of elongation through the whole spine. Might allow you to feel like you're pulling the spine further out of the pelvis. Wherever you are, see if you can wiggle relocate in any way that allows you to feel more comfortable so you can become still. I invite you to close or soften the eyes. I invite you to send out your hearing and detect what you can hear outside of the building or outside of the space that you are currently in. Just noticing if there is anything to hear. And then coming closer in to hear anything in your apartment, in your house. Noting what it is, how far away it sounds. And then directly in the room, whether you hear any environmental noise. This could be your heat or air system, the refrigerator running, air purifier, anything. And then one step closer, see if you can hear or sense anything stirring within your body. Can you sense the heart beating, the pulse? Can you hear the breath coming in the nose and then departing the lungs? And we'll notice whether pace and the quality of our breath changed. We allowed our attention to focus on different parts of our world, outside and within the body. Maybe this gave the mind and the body a chance to relax when we task the mind. Take a deep breath in, down into the belly through the nose. And release it out the mouth. Take one more. Out the mouth. You can keep the eyes closed, and if you recline onto the back, onto the pillow, walk yourself slowly back up onto forearms and hands. Take your time, treating the low back with kindness. Gradually come to sit upright again in this half saddle position. And then we'll extend the right leg out parallel and alongside the left foot. And bounce the legs, bending the knees one and the other, and allowing the calves and the thighs to kind of tap the floor below you. Inhale, send the arms up to the ceiling. Get as long and stacked as you can through that spine. Reintroducing some space into the lower vertebra. And shake the hands down by the sides. We'll take the opposite leg folded in. So this is the left knee bending. The left foot sits to the outer edge of your left hip. Right leg is long out in front of you. And again, maybe grab the flesh of the seat and pull it back and away so you feel yourself sitting more upright. Your knees can be evenly spaced, the same as your hips. You can stay upright like this. Again, maybe you need a little additional lift underneath the seat by placing another pillow or block. Maybe you need a more robust pillow behind you to support the back. Feels really good to make sure the pillow is tight to the low back, to the bottom. So when you lean back, you have a continuous surface for the whole back to rest on. So you can stay upright and begin to sense the inner rotation of the left leg. Maybe that's enough. Maybe you start to walk back to rest on the palms. Letting the spine take a diagonal angle, shoulders back and space away from the hips. And eventually you'll find the fullest extension, but there is no rush. Again, you'll feel a nice stretch on the front hip, the left quad. You might feel some congestion in the low back, like it's not supported enough. If that's the case, you can walk yourself back upright. But if you're still upright on hands or the forearms, tuck the chin into the chest, let the back of the neck stay long. Maybe you can rearrange the position of the toes relative to the heel. So you have a straighter line between the heel and the toes, rather than letting the left foot sickle inward, which means that the big toe is going to want to go close to the hip and the heel bows out. See if you can put the heel and the toe stacked in the same line. And when you find fullest expression, where you can feel sensation, challenge, but also find ease, enough that you can stay still for a bit. Allow the arms either to extend overhead or out to the side. Let the palms face up. Let the eyes soften. And this time, we'll direct our attention directly to the breath. Just noticing the effect of the inhale on the chest, on the belly, what it feels like to come in and to pass out through the nose or mouth. Maybe you take some deeper breaths and release them out the mouth. Perhaps your exhale allows you to soften and settle into the stretch. Watching the breath come in and out. Noticing the chest and the belly rise and fall. Noticing the ribs flare up and out. The breath changes the shape of the body, not just up and down, but side to side as well. And eventually we'll start to bring movement back into the body. Walking up onto forearms or hands if you were reclined. Pausing in that relaxed, kind of slouching but upright reclined position. Gently and eventually coming to sit upright over the seat. Maybe you bring your palms, your hands into fists, and press the floor away. If your hands reach in, engage the belly. You might even lean forward a little bit so your hands can find the ground by pressing the ground away, creating a little more space for the spine to hang from the shoulders. And eventually and slowly, you'll walk the left foot out to meet the right, bouncing the legs, making circles with the ankles in one direction and then the other. Nailing the arms up overhead, let the breath lift the chest and the spine. And then soften the knees, bring them up, maybe even a foot away from the ground. And drape the chest over the thighs. Maybe you find the soles of the feet with your hands. Maybe you just find the shins. Try and make some contact between the belly and the thighs so that the thighs can support you, especially the low back. Kind of jumped right into that. Let the head hang. Introducing a curve in the upper back. And then coming back upright, gather the feet close to the hips in front of you. So it might feel really good to stay propped up on a blanket or a pillow. And reach the arms, the hands down to reach somewhere on the legs. Maybe it's the shins, maybe it's the ankles or the feet. And start to tilt the torso and the spine forward, trying to stay long in the spine, from the pelvis all the way out through the crown of the head. Also trying to keep the two bony parts of the hips of the pelvis grounded on your blanket, pillow, or mat. You can continue to extend the spine forward, starting to stretch a little bit more into the outer hips and the groin. Or you can start to curve over the feet. If you're sticking with a straighter spine, maybe eventually you come down onto the forearms. And if your knees are starting to chirp at you in a negative way, usually when your knees feel anything, it's negative. So you might back out. That's totally fine. Or you might wedge a pillow underneath each side of your thighs. You can really kind of shove them up close to the hips. And that'll give some support underneath, and maybe that'll turn off any pinching in the knees. Wherever you are, let the head hang, introducing a curve to the whole spine. Sensing how gravity is pulling on your head to lengthen the spine, even though it is curved. Introducing space between the pieces of the spine. And sway side to side. understanding how the spine is rooted and rotates from that pelvis. Take 3 more slow breaths here. Maybe closing the eyes if they weren't already closed. And after 3, backing yourself up to seated upright, gathering the knees close together, soles of the feet on the mat. I'm going to move my pillows out of the way. And I'm going to come to sitting directly on the mat for a second, extending the legs out long again, inhaling the arms straight up overhead, and exhale, folding over the legs. Maybe I keep them straighter this time. So now, rather than putting some space into the low back, now our efforts, our senses are tracking how the backs of the legs feel. Feeling the stretch all the way up from the soles of the feet, through the calves, the backs of the knees, the hamstrings and the hips. And then you'll step your feet back in close to you. You're going to put the knees more or less over the ankles, press the 2 palms behind you, and we're going to press into the feet and the hands, lift the hips, push the hips forward, and come into reverse tabletop. Like this. So this is what it'll look like. Maybe you have to walk the feet further away from the hands. Shin can be tucked in to the chest. Keep pressing through the feet and the hands. So now we're stretching shoulders, engaging the glutes, drawing in the belly, and release down to the mat. And we're going to walk ourselves up to come into squat. So looking down at the feet, maybe walk them a little bit away from each other, toes pointing outward, heels facing inward. And your seat may come off the ground, or it may not like that at all. Again, you can shove a blanket, shove a pillow underneath the seat. Enough so you can start, so the knees themselves are relaxed and you can focus on using the strength of the outer hips to pull the knees away from one another. So you're engaging the outer hips to pull the knees back in space behind you. You might not even, I feel like I can access this much better when I'm sitting on this mountain of soft things rather than sitting forward on my feet as if, your traditional yogi squat. But whatever your positioning, draw the elbows to the inner edges of the thighs or the knees. And both pull the knees and the thighs towards one another and press them away with the elbows. Pinch the shoulder blades together on the back so you feel the collarbones broadening, the chest lifting up and forward. Slight tuck of the chin so you feel long in the neck rather than head rocking back. Maybe lastly, engage the pelvic floor. Draw up the entire cavity of the torso. And that sensation is like you're holding it in when you have to pee. Sounds silly, but it really engages the abdominal muscles down to the deepest layer. You might feel a shift in your spine in doing so. Let the arms release, palms meet the mat. Shift the toes to face forward so the feet are parallel and lift the hips up towards the ceiling, coming into a relaxed, bent knee, wide-legged forward fold. Maybe shaking the hips side to side, bending into one leg and then the other. Move my props out of the way again. Maybe rock the weight forward and backwards into toes and heels. You can let the toes come up off the floor when you rock back into the heels. Lift the heels off when you come onto the toes. And then let's find a little stillness, allowing the torso to fully just hang over the legs. And maybe you grab one elbow with the opposite arm, or hand rather, while grabbing the other elbow with the other hand. Shake out the head, loosen the jaw. Starting to feel the backs of the legs again. Working to draw the hips upwards. So bringing the weight more into the front of the feet will help with that. Fun, as well as challenging the balance. All right, bending the knees, pressing the floor away with the feet, and slowly roll up, curved spine. Eventually shrug the shoulders, arms extend down by the sides, palms forward. Close the eyes. Chin is neutral, floating above the floor. Without looking, sense the chest rising and falling. Sense the soles of the feet in almost full contact with the floor. Engage the leg muscles. Draw the kneecaps up towards the face. Envision that you're pushing the floor away with your feet. Feeling the glutes engaged, low belly. Inhale the air, the arms rise up overhead, look up. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, walk the hands up the shins, press them away, extending the spine forward, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, plant the palms, step the right leg back. And if it wasn't, step the left foot between the two hands. Rocking back and forth to wake up the calf on the right leg and the front of the right hip. Starting to sense the pelvis dropping towards the floor. And then press the palms into the floor, step the left foot back to meet the right, meeting in high plank. Again, spreading the fingers and palms wide to press the floor away. Shoulders are directly over your wrists. We're engaging the legs, engaging the belly. So the whole line of the body is lifting away from the floor. And then lower the knees, untuck the toes, and shift the hips back, finding child's pose. 3 breaths here. Gaze goes up, looking forward, extending the arms long, fingers straight out in front of you, feeling the arms turn on. Lift the hips up, tuck the toes, and lift the hips up and back, coming into downward dog. You can keep nice, bent knees, can march, bending one and the other. Pressing floor away still with the full spread palm. Trying to draw the shoulder blades down, back away from the ears. So we're relaxing the shoulders. And then bend the knees, looking forward, and step the feet one by one up towards the hands, coming to floor pull. Pressing into the feet, sweeping hips out and up, inhale. And on the exhale, the hands come through center and rest down by the sides. So take a moment to pause here. Where did your breath go? You take a second to sense the feet pushing into the floor, maybe to re-engage the legs, glutes.
Talk about some of the things that they can find on.
Inhale the arms up, lift up. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, look forward to halfway lift. Exhale to fold again, planting the palms. This time stepping the left foot back behind you, coming into low lunge. Again, maybe you rearrange the feet so the right foot is between the two hands. Rocking back and forth to wake up front of the left hip. Maybe the back of the left calf. Feeling the pelvis and the hips come closer towards the floor. And then you'll engage the arms again, engage the belly, press the floor away with the hands, and step the right foot to the back, coming into high plank on the other side. Engaging the full plank of the body, drawing the low belly up towards the spine, pressing the floor away, rotating the soft spots, the elbows towards one another, forward. Over the knees, untuck the toes, shift the hips, back, child's pose. 3 breaths here. Steady the fingers long away from you, straightening the arms, pressing into the finger pads. Feeling the weight of the hips to draw them closer to the feet. Maybe rock the head side to side to massage the forehead.
Generally, that includes yet another title. It tells you exactly what the drawing shows, and underneath is the scale.
And then coming up into tabletop. Plant both palms underneath the shoulders, pressing the palm of the left hand into the ground. Release the right arm up and extend it to the ceiling, opening up to the right. And on your exhale, bend the right arm, scooping it underneath you, underneath the left arm, and allowing the right shoulder to rest on the mat. Coming into thread needle pose. So our hips are still over our knees. You can keep the left arm long in front of you. Or you can draw it up towards the ceiling. You can bend it. Maybe it finds the inner thigh or the hip crease.
Now, for example,
and just enjoying spinal twist. Also an opening of the right shoulder.
To kind of measure out your drawings to figure out exactly the dimensions that you're working off of. So that's kind of what that tells you. The 1/4 inch on the drawings is equal to 1 foot.
Walking the left hand underneath the face, sending the right arm out and up, twisting open, and resetting in tabletop. So lower the belly, lift the head and hips up for cow pose. And pressing the floor away with the shins and hands, draw the belly button towards the spine, curving upwards for cat. One more time. Cow pose, gazes up, inhale. Exhale, other way for cat. And back to neutral, long straight spine. This time we're going to press the right palm into the mat and sweep the left arm up overhead, stacking left shoulder over right, and sweeping the back of the left palm is on the mat. Back of the left hand is on the mat, left shoulder on the mat. So we're opening up shoulder blades, the outer shoulder on the right side and the left side. You can stay like this, or you can extend the right arm long in front of you. Straight arm pressing the floor away, the right palm. Looking up under the right armpit. You can also extend the right arm up overhead. You can bend it, maybe search for the hip crease or the inner thigh. And pull on it so you peel the right shoulder open even more. And the full chest is opening. You're starting to look up over the right shoulder towards the ceiling. Still pressing the back of the left arm into the ground. Releasing all of that. I'm going to put the right palm underneath the face, sweep the left arm up and open to undo the twist. Left hand down by the right. Cow pose, belly drops, hips and head lift. Press the floor away with the shins and hands, allow the head to drop. Cow, inhale. Cat, exhale. Okay. Cow, inhale, belly down, head and hips up. Exhale, cat, spine to the ceiling, head and tailbone drop. Coming back to neutral. Bring the 2 feet behind you and together sit back onto the heels. And we're going to come to standing. So you can, just meet me at the front of the mat. You can come through fold. Just give yourself a break. We've been working the spine a bit. So we'll inhale the arms up overhead. Catch opposite elbows overhead. So this is what it will look like. So you pull the elbows so you feel the arm bones come out of the shoulder sockets. Feeling a little more space and length in those bones. Maybe you're able to shift the upper arms back behind the ears a little more. Just trying to stay long. And then check in with the low belly and the low ribs. The low ribs are flaring out. You have this curve in your spine. See if you can tuck it in, stacking shoulders over hips. Extend the arms up overhead and swap your grip on the elbows. Same thing, pulling elbows up away from the shoulders. And then shifting upper arm bones back in line with the floor behind the ears. Pressing the feet into the floor to engage the legs and grow out of the feet. And then checking with the low ribs. Pull them in, engaging the low belly. Inhale, arms long, look up. And fold over the legs. Hang out here for a few breaths. I'm just going to reorient to the front of the mat. All right, pressing into the feet. Gradually make your way upright. We're going to step out sideways. Toes are facing out, heels pointing in, close to each other. And we're going to drop down into our goddess pose. So under this position, the knees will be over the heels and the seat. We're trying to draw the tailbone down. Let the tailbone be super heavy. It's almost like you're thrusting forward a little bit, but while you do that, see if you can spiral the thigh muscles outward away from one another. So you're engaging the outer hips to pull the knees back. And it's not too important what you do with the arms. See if you can soften the tops of the shoulders though. And pressing the big toe down into the mat. At the same time, trying to shift the weight in the foot towards the back outer edge, the pinky toe edge. Extend the arms long overhead. Sink the hips. And then catch the hands behind the head. Draw the low belly and the ribs in. Inhale. Exhale, bending over to the right knee to right elbow. Inhale through center. Exhale, left elbow, left knee. Inhale through center. Exhale, right elbow, right knee. Inhale, center. Exhale, left elbow, left knee. Inhale, center. Press the feet, straighten the legs and arms. And we'll come into it one more time. Bending the knees, coming into the goddess with the arms supporting the back of the head. This time you can stay like this, or you can extend the arms overhead. Somewhere in between is catching the elbows. So we'll inhale in the center. Exhale, leaning to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, lean to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center, trying to keep the hips low. Exhale, left. Inhale through center. Press into the feet, straighten arms and legs. Shake the hips side to side. All right. Walk the hips, or the feet, closer to one another. All right. Inhale, the arms up overhead, facing the front of the mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, slip the right foot back in space. So we're in our low lunge again. Right foot back. And come to stillness. Scissor the legs by pulling the left hip back and the right hip forward. Walk yourself up to high crescent lunge. So we're pressing the big toe mound, the ball of the foot into the floor behind us. Propel us forward. Bending into the left knee. At the same time, we're trying to draw the torso back and upright. So maybe you have a bend in the back knee. That's the right knee. Breathing. The inhale draws the spine longer, more upright. The exhale allows the hips to sink from the right hip to stretch. Sweep the hands down to the mat, step the left foot to meet right in plank. Bend the elbows back in space, lowering the body down towards the ground. Pulling the shoulders through, the chest through the shoulders rather, coming onto tops of feet, upward dog, pressing the floor with the hands. And shifting the hips up and back, downward dog. 3 breaths here. Bend the knees and press the arms long. After 3 breaths, we'll bend the knees, look forward, step or hop up to the front of the mat, forward fold. Press into the feet, sweep the arms all the way up, look up. Exhale, hands to the center, down by the sides. Sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms this time. Step your left foot back. Low lunge. Scissor the legs the other way, so right hip draws back. Left hip pulls forward. And we walk ourselves up to high lunge, high crescent lunge. So pressing, kind of lunging the whole body forward over the right knee. Bending the left knee slightly so we can draw the spine and torso upright. Inhaling the arms up alongside the ears if you like. Inhale draws the chest up and the spine long. And the exhale, we can sink into that right knee. A few more breaths. Still engaging with the scissoring action. So again, right hip pulls back, left hip draws forward. Frame the foot with the hands, step right foot back to left, finding plank. And we'll lower back to that Chaturanga. What's the name of that move? So that's bending the elbows backwards, hovering in a low plank, rolling onto tops of feet and drawing the chest through the shoulders, pressing the floor with the arms. And rolling over the tops of the feet again, finding down dog, hips are high. 3 breaths. And after 3, bend the knees, look forward, step to step, front of the mat, folding. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Press into the feet, roll yourself up, look up, inhale. Exhale, folding the hands through center, down by the sides. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, step the right foot back, finding lunge. And we're going to go straight up into the crescent lunge. This time, knit the hands together in a fist behind you, extending the arms long, peeling the chest open. The fist goes down towards the seat one day, tucking the chin and pinching the shoulder blades together on the back. Draw the belly in, draw the low ribs in. Extend long through the back of the neck. Tip the torso forward, drawing the belly in, so we're not letting it rest on the thigh quite yet, so pressing strong through the right leg, through the right ball of foot. Arms are still extending behind us long. Release the hands, shake them out, send them up along the ears. Woo. 1 breath to get super long. Exhale, fold over the legs, plant the palms, step back to plank. Lower yourself down to the mat through Chaturanga. Roll over the tops of the feet, up dog. And over the tops of the feet again to down dog. 3 breaths. After 3, raise up onto toes, bend the knees, look forward, stepping up to the front of the mat. Inhale for halfway. Exhale for fold. Inhale, pressing into the feet, upright, inhale. Exhale, fold the arms through center, hands by the side. 1 more time, other side. Inhale, arms up and long. Exhale, fold over the feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, step left foot back. Press into the feet, engage the legs. Walk yourself right upright to crescent lunge. Arms can stay high and long, or you can grab them together, finding a fist behind the back, but switch the knitting of the hands so the opposite thumb's on top as before. Engaging the low belly, engaging the glutes, again, engage with that scissoring action, right hip back, left hip forward, maybe a bend into the left knee. Work to straighten the arms behind you, pinching the shoulder blades together. Chin can lower towards the chest, but feel that opening of the shoulders and the collarbones. And check in with the low ribs so they're not flaring out. Pressing the floor away in the feet. And then start to lean the torso forward so you have a diagonal line from the pelvis out through the head. Chest is not resting on the thigh. Pull the fist back in space behind you. Unlock the hands, shake them out for a second. Sweep them up alongside the ears, look up. Exhale, fold. Step the right to meet the left in plank. Let's lower the knees, send the hips back. Take a rest in child's pose. Take 3 breaths. And then walk the right hands over to the right off the mat, keeping both hips grounding down towards the heels. And with each inhale, feel the left side body expand. Feel space introduce itself between the left ribs, armpit, the hip. Walking through center, inhale. Exhale, hands walk off the left side mat, ground the hips down to the right. And each inhale inflates the ribs, the right side body. Still breathing. Walking hands through center, inhale, look forward. And with nice flat, broad palms, bend the elbows and draw yourself through the palms and lower the belly down onto the mat. Untuck the toes, the tops of the feet are flat on the mat. Engage the kneecaps so they rise off the floor. Step the palms so that they're right underneath the shoulders and press the floor away. Pinching shoulder blades together, low cobra. And rest the forehead down on the mat, shifting hips side to side. Do that a few more times. Again, pressing the feet, the tops of the feet into the mat, engaging the kneecaps, engaging the glutes so the legs lift off the floor. You're grounded only by your hips, your pubic bone, and your feet. And you press the floor away, you draw the shoulder blades together using the strength of the back to come into this little back bend. Engaging the low belly to support that little back. You don't have the chicken wings out to the side, you draw them back in space behind you so the elbows point back towards the feet. Maybe you lift the hands, maybe palms can face upwards, a little levity. Send arms out to the side, circle the wrists, we're still engaging the legs. And relax, swing cheek to the mat, shifting the hips side to side. All right, pressing ourselves upright, whichever way. Just going to take a couple seated twists. So coming to seated, bend the knees into the chest, extend the left leg long. Step the right foot over the left leg. And make sure both hip points are grounded down on the floor. I'm going to press the right palm behind us, starting to turn open to the right. Inhaling, left arm long, look up. And exhaling, twisting open to the right. So you might hug the knee into the chest. So not only are you twisting, but you're also stretching the outer line of the right hip and thigh. That's good. Trying to propel ourselves kind of forward, but upright with this back hand rather than stepping it back so we lean. Trying to stack the shoulders over the hips. You might even have like a little bend in your arms, that elbow juts into your back to remind you, sit upright. Might be helpful to engage that left leg that's extended, flexing the toes back towards the face. You might slide the left elbow to the outside of the right knee. A little bit more rotation open to the right. I'm feeling really congested in my upper back and shoulders today, my shoulder blades. So It's helpful for me to visualize my inhale kind of inflating the upper back, massaging the inside of the shoulder blades. And then turning back through center, stepping the right foot forward, bending left foot in, stepping it over the right, and wiggle the hips, make sure the bony parts of the seat are grounded in the mat. We're going to step the left palm behind us this time, start to open up to the left. Pinching the two shoulder blades on the back so we feel the collarbones and the chest open up. You can hug the left knee in towards the chest. Or you can extend, inhaling the right arm straight up. Catch the right knee on the outer edge of the left thigh. Trying to draw the shoulders down away from the ears. Trying to stay upright, maybe even tilted slightly forward towards the knees rather than sitting back into the palm and the arm. Back through center. Extend the left leg out, long, shake out the legs. So last thing we're going to do is set ourselves up for rest. So you can reclaim your pillows. You can sit yourself up for some type of seated structure where you can sit for a long time. Maybe that's up on a block or a pillow. Just enough that you can sit for a couple minutes. And also recline and add some pillows underneath the knees. So the legs are long. That gives us a little bit of relaxation in the low back. So find what you think you want your final pose to be. That's your final pose for rest. And take a few moments to get any wiggles out, make any adjustments, so you can be ever slighter, ever more slightly comfortable. And when you've committed, soften the eyes. Track that pulse is slowing. Encourage the breath to follow. Hands feel heavy and rooted, whether they're on the floor or in the lap. Same goes for the pelvis. Sense the touch, the connection between that anchoring point and the floor. Picture your spine long and spacious, stacked. And observe whether the chest and shoulders opened up a little more for you today. So we can introduce more full breaths. Allow the body to relax and the organs to relax. finally start counting the breaths. Starting from 0, going up to 10. And then tracking back down to 0. Let the counting be unimportant. Select the task. Guide the slowing of the breath. The shutting down of the outer senses of outer stimulus. And just be. Stay in a position of relaxation as long as you'd like. Thank you for joining, and I'll catch you next time. Have a good rest of your day.